Guys, this is the easiest 30-20x there is in crypto. But if you don't know any better, I've been watching this all week, and I'm like, what in God's name are these people doing? You're going to lose all your money investing in IDOs in crypto if you don't know what you're doing, okay? If you don't know what you're doing in this case right here, you are going to get spanked. You are going to get slapped around. If you do know what you're doing, you are going to have an absolute heyday. So in this video, guys, what I want to do is I want to break down how IDOs work from a 30,000 foot view. And because most people will not be getting into IDOs, I want to talk about how to invest in new projects. Because if you do this the correct way, like last week when I pointed out Cryptomedia, when they had a messed up launch, you would have made like a 10x ROI. Easy, just like that, okay? Or if you get into some of these launch pads, when they first launch up, so many gains are there to be had. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be like other people who I see all week losing all their money, like nuts, like animals. So let's just get into it. And if you want to see tips on these things early, you want to get hints on my Twitter at @CSSBecker. I hint at things I'm investing at early so that we don't pump them. It's very subtle. For example, I'll show like a picture of a horse. I showed this right here on one. Nobody got it. Few people did. Those people that did, they're up like 4 to 5x right now on D-Race. So let's talk about this, because this actually absolutely wrecked my pants when I first got into it. So what are IDOs? IDOs are when a coin is offered for the first time. It's basically an ICO. You ever heard about those ICO scams from the early days of crypto? They just changed the branding behind it. They're like, oh, it's different now. All right, sort of, it is. Whatever. What you need to understand is what an IDO is on platforms, for example, like Chainboost or Cetify, which are my two favorite ones right now, because you guys know I invest 95% in gaming because it delivers the best returns. It's going to deliver the best returns in a bear market if we go bear. We'll talk about that another time. What you can easily do right here is you can buy in the projects at their lowest possible price if you hold a lot of them. So look, Chainboost and Cetify are no secret now. You're going to have to shell out some serious coin if you want to get into these IDOs. But if you can invest in these IDOs, it's an easy 10 to 30x very often. For example, if you go look at, for example, Pokemon, this IDO'd on, or Polychain Monsters, this IDO'd on Polka Starter, and I believe you could have gotten the coins for like literally a dollar to 50 cents. I'm not exactly sure what the price was, but it was an easy 30x out the gate. Okay, but you also have to pay attention to this bastard right here. All right, look at this price right here. Look at this right here. $53 all the way down in the same day, down to $41. A really good example of this is, I love this project. I'm an investor in this project. This is not me hating on the project. This is what you need to understand is, and I don't know if you can see this super clearly in the chart, so I'm going to tell you what happened. Okay, Super Farm, for example, right here, if you got into the IDO, you made at least 100, 200x after it launched. But what you also need to focus on when you're looking at this right here is most people, unless you shelled a bunch of cash, which, I mean, it's worth it. If you're in Cetify or Chainboost, you make giant ROIs on them. And by the way, this is not financial advice. I don't guarantee any of this. This is just pretty much universal across the space. Please find me an IDO that hasn't 10x or 20 or 30x since it was released, especially right now that we're back kind of in a sort of bull run, whatever we're in. Please find me one. I can't find one. If you find one, by all means, okay? But what you also need to be aware of right here is a lot of people, their strategy is they want to invest in these projects right when they hit Uniswap. So for example, I'm going to zoom in super deep here. I don't think it will show. I believe this is the day when it hit Uniswap right here. Okay, and so what does this mean? After the IDO finishes and the new project launches, people have the chance to buy it for the first time on Uniswap. You can make a killing here. You can make a killing here if you buy right here. So what you need to understand happens on these is the day after something launches. For example, let's say there's a project you really like. What's going to happen right after launch? You're going to get absolutely destroyed by bots and dumpers when the project drops. So without further ado, this is how you invest in IDOs and new projects. So let's start from the very beginning. How do you invest in IDO? The first thing you should try and do is find new IDOs or IDO platforms that are launching if you're new to crypto. Okay, so for example, what I did when Cetify was at like a $5 million market cap and no one was focusing on it because we were in the bear market, I went and bought up a lot of it. Why? Because I thought games were going to be huge and people were going to want to invest in these games early. Because of this, Now, if you're outside the United States, you're going to have a little bit of trouble with this. It's still something good to buy up and hold. For example, also, if it's NFT drops, for example, I was able to get into the NetVark NFT sale and buy tons of land super early on Chain Boost because I can get into these early. And what you should be super aware of right now is if you see a new platform that is dropping NFTs, NFTs can be sold to Americans. So you could buy this up right here. These land plots right here are going to go for silly, silly amounts. So Chain Boost and Seedify, I really like them. They have great drops, but you need to look for new launch pads because if you can get in while they're at their baby prices, like a sub $5 million market cap, you can actually buy up a lot regardless of how wealthy you are. Buy up 1,000, 2,000 coins of it. Then you can easily invest in these IDOs and make those big fat gains when they drop. For example, Cryptomedia dropped last week and it's already up a good, I don't know, at its peak was up like 20x. Right now it's up about 10x because we're slumping right now. And it's still at a crazy low price because the launch went a little bit bumpy. And if you can look for bumpy launches, this is my next tip, you can make a killing because again, you would have had a chance to buy Cryptomedia at like 1.5 cents even though the thing is still at a super low market cap. And you would have made an easy 10x on it. And if you know to spot that, that's where the juice is going to be at. Okay? So that's the first thing. Find new IDO platforms. Or you can invest in the current ones if you have a little bit of cash. It's an easy way to get on good projects that are launching. They'll routinely do a 10, 20, 30x. Sometimes even 100x's after drop. Again, that's not me guaranteeing that's going to happen. I'm just, again, looking at the trend in the industry. It's very rare for IDOs not to do a 10, 20x, even if they're average. And also full super transparency. I'm an advisor for both these platforms because anything I invest in, I try to advise. If I like something I'm investing, I'm going to be very straight with you guys. I reach out to them and say, hey, I want to help you guys do better. So if people are always like, he's an advisor for them. Yeah, I reach out to every project I want and I try to help them do better. Wouldn't you? If you had a decade experience building companies? All right, moving on. Most people aren't going to buy into these platforms, or you might be too late to buy into the platforms if you don't have a big wad of cash. So what people are going to try and do next is they're going to try and buy projects right after they hit Uniswap. So what's going to happen as soon as a project finishes up on, let's just say Spores, for example. As soon as Spores finishes up, it goes to Uniswap. And then what happens is everybody rushes in and buys it. Okay? So here's what to look for when you're buying a new project that's dropping on Uniswap. First thing you must always understand is you're not going to see this in a chart because this happens in the span of minutes. All right? You're not going to see this recorded in the market cap charts. Superfam, for example, shot up to about a $3 price tag. Cryptomedia, for example, shot up to like a $2.80 price tag, like 1,000x. You can't exit at these prices, guys. These are not actual prices. What they are their bots. Bots sit and guard Uniswap the second something drops, and they buy as much as they possibly can of something and then dump it on everybody minutes after launch. So what happens is the price skyrockets about 4 or 5 times. Like I think Superfarm had like $1 billion market cap at one point, and then they dump it on everybody. They just keep selling and selling and selling and selling it, and the price just plummets. And so people buy it like $5, $6, and it plummets down to $1. Happens all the time. Why does this happen? Because that's what bots do. They're evil. So what do you do first off? Don't buy minutes after the IDO. You're not getting into anything early. Trust me. You're not getting into anything early. What you instead want to do is you need to wait for the first wave where all the bots come in and all the bots dump. All right, you're going to see a massive dump down to here. All right, it went down to like 93 cents from like $3 up here or something. I was watching this very intently, and I almost lost my butt. I invested in Superfarm at $3, and then it dropped to $2.50, and then all the way down to $1. I got a $2.50 before the bots dumped on me because I didn't know any better at the time. Okay. Then you saw it shoot up again. What's going to happen right here? The first round of pump and dumpers is going to buy a new drop. It's going to go up, and it's going to go down. Okay, and it's very important this time frame right here, you don't do anything. Okay, when you start to see it start to settle, this is when you buy in. And then look what happens. Okay, one second, let's go to 1 year on this. This is the point where you should have bought in right here. All right, it just kind of fadoogled around here, and then okay, this is what people are waiting for. This is when the actual investors are waiting for. That's how you invest in it. Okay, another really good interesting one right here. There's 2 things you should look for. All right, so Cryptomedia right here. This happened last week. They really kind of botched the launch a little bit, but it's an overall great project sitting at a super low market cap. Okay, and so what happened? You're not going to see this in the charts either. So when Cryptomedia launched, you could watch it on Dex Tools. All right, there's a site called Dex Tools. It allows you to see things on the blockchain and Uniswap very early. And so the price of it went all over the place. It did bot things, and they messed up the launch. And then everybody who bought in an IDO freaked out and started dumping it. And it dumped super hard, like almost below the IDO price at one point. And then what happened? Okay, so what you need to ask yourself is, if you go look at Paid Network, for example, right here. Paid Network is a great project. But if you go look at Paid Network's price, this happened right, let's go look at 1 year on it. Right here, check this out. This is when Paid Network got hacked. Everybody freaked out and acted like children and dumped it. Then look what happened right after. If you just bought right here, you made so much money. And what you need to ask yourself, and what you need to understand in crypto, is that the price is not a reflection of the project. A project getting hacked once or twice or messing up some tech thing, that's to be expected in software. It's just to be expected. It literally means nothing most of the time, unless the project is a disaster. Paid Network isn't a disaster. Cryptomedia is an disaster. So if you research a project a lot and you see some shit like this happen, you see a botch, you see a tech error, and it causes everybody to dump, that's because people don't understand software investing in crypto. They think they just put money in and they make tons of money, and then if anybody's freaking out, they sell and act like children. You want to buy when people are throwing things down the drain. That's when you want to buy. So with Cryptomedia, for example, you could have bought at like 1.5 cents and it shot up to 20 cents literally the next day because it's a good project. It's a very simple lesson in what to look for. If you had just chilled out or watched the Discord channel and said, all right, cool, they botched the launch, but does this mean that the project is bad, or does it mean that they botched the launch? It means they botched the launch. Buy the project, easy. It shot up to its normal IDO bumped price. I want to show you one other example right here. Look for projects that you like that aren't getting any attention. All right? So check out Illuvium right here. Illuvium, I remember when I invested in Illuvium, I think it was like $2.50 a coin or something like that. It's at like $500 right now. Nobody was investing in Illuvium. It just caboofled all around. And so one thing I want to stress to you is look for projects you actually like, and then find ones that don't have a good IDO. Look for bad IDOs. Look for bad launches. That's the best advice I can ever give you, because there's tons of projects. For example, ColdStack. Oh my God. ColdStack had the lamest IDO launch of all time. It did not do well. So did Donkey, another one I always talk about. So like ColdStack didn't do anything after its IDO. Its returns were terrible compared to other IDOs out there. It really didn't do much. ColdStack is one of the best projects I'm invested in. Again, I want to stress, guys, do not buy these things I'm talking about in this video. ColdStack is already all pumped up. You missed out, all right? You should have bought this when I was talking about it on Twitter right here. It's too late, okay? I'm just going to tell you that. So if you can look at stuff like Illuvium right here, you know, I invested in Illuvium super duper early when nobody wanted to invest in it. It did terrible after its IDO. No one was buying into it because you're like, why do I invest in like this thing right here? I couldn't even convince people to invest into it. I was like telling my friends, like, Illuvium's actually pretty cool. They're like, oh, whatever. Can I invest in... People want to go and look at and invest in these things. Then when this is exactly the opposite of what you want to be invested for. If you see this after IDO, no, young Padawan. Chill out. You want to find the ones that look like this after IDO. That's where the juice is at. Not this. Look for red and nasty, underwhelming launches. That's where the juice is at. Okay? So that, guys, is exactly how you invest in IDOs. It is an exceptionally good way to make money in crypto because you can find projects, at their lowest price ever if you invest in IDO platforms, which, again, NFTs on these platforms, an initial NFT drops that deliver huge ROIs, those are not limited. If you're in America, you can get into them. Regardless of whether you can get on the IDO or not, be prepared for bots afterwards. Watch for that dump. Watch for the initial pump and dumpers who will pump up the project. Watch for that dump. Wait for it to settle. Then invest if you love the project. Still a little bit risky. What I want to see is a project that does terrible after the IDO. Watch for a project that just kind of goes, yeah, and just kind of floats around, does nothing. Maybe it like does a 3-4x after its IDO price. That is when the juice is there. For example, Cryptomedia, the price flopped after IDO. Flew back up. Why? Tech errors. If you can find tech errors or botched launches, that is the juiciest, easiest 10x ROI you'll ever see, as stated with what happened there. Or if you find a project that just really isn't getting a lot of attention, maybe their marketing's not great, like, or maybe it's just a really new project that people didn't really get. I'm not saying ColdStack did this. ColdStack's an amazing project. there you go. Alluvium, amazing project. Probably one of the best gainers of this last year. Nobody wanted to invest in it at first. It was very low investments. Do this and you're going to be in a juicy spot. That being said, guys, if you want to see these things that I talk about a little bit earlier and maybe see when I'm investing in things, I mentioned all the coins that are way up right now on my Twitter before they were up. And I don't actually just go out there and say, like, invest in this thing. I put little subtle hints that nobody gets so that only my most engaged fans get it. They get in early. It doesn't cause a pump. And when the coin actually takes off because it's a good project, they make a lot of money. For example, I pointed out D-Race when it was at 85 cents very subtly. No one really got into it. And then it went insane. If you want to get into that, follow me at Twitter at CSS Becker. I also have more giveaways than anybody else in gaming crypto. That's it. I'll catch you later.